Returning now to that report by the ACCC revealing childcare fees are rising faster than inflation, while about a quarter of daycare centres are charging parents for hours their kids are at home. That's according to that report. And of course, on Monday, the federal government's new childcare subsidy regime will kick in. Richard Bell is the CEO of Little Zach's Academy, which operates 30 centres across New South Wales and employs more than 600 staff. He joins me now live. Richard, thank you so much for joining us.
No worries.
Firstly, what's your reaction to this new report by the ACCC?
Yeah, I think, look, it's a shame that families are being charged more. One of the things that I don't like doing is giving a parent a fee increase, but I think it's important to look at inflation as a number, right? The headline this morning has been that childcare fees are outpacing inflation. But when you look at the numbers, it says 20%, but it's actually 4%, right, when you make that inflationary adjustment. So I think for us, costs have gone up significantly, whether that's, childcare rent, whether that's the employee benefits scheme that we pay our staff, everything has gone up considerably. So it's not as black and white as, okay, inflation is outpacing childcare fees. It's very much around, well, if inflation is outpacing childcare fees, then you've got to look at all those other costs, like costs of toys, cost of rent that goes up, cost of shipping, cost of manufacturing. So, and super's gone up as well from 9 to 11%.
Oh, it's a lot of money.
Yes,
so it's impacting every childcare centre then. In terms of you, then how much have your daily fees risen across the board on average?
Yeah, I think for us, our costs have gone up 30 to 50% over the last 4 years.
That's a lot of money.
It absolutely is. And we have not risen our daily fees that much over the last 3 to 4 years. So what we're trying to do is find a good balance of providing quality care, to these families at an affordable rate. But if we start discounting on our fees, then we're going to discount on quality of service and quality of product, which is not what we want to do. One of the things we have had to start to do is offer, employee benefits to be able to attract the right employees. So, offering staff things like a day off on their birthday, paid progression for their study, making sure we're mentoring them through their career as well. So Little Zach's has really tried to be at the forefront of looking after our staff so that we can actually provide that quality care to families and to parents.
So if you're having to put up fees to pay for all these behind the scenes costs then, we know on Monday, of course, the childcare subsidy comes into place. Does it cancel it out?
Look, we've done a lot of research in relation to this and yes, we've looked at 9 out of 10 families should be better off as an average with the new CCS that comes out on July 10th. So 90%, the 90% subsidy which kicks in and then the 95% subsidy for the second child will bring the average cost out of pocket to the parents down. And it's worth mentioning that over the last 4 years, when you make the inflationary adjustment, childcare has gotten cheaper by about 7% over the last 4 years to parents and families.
I guess speaking to a number of parents, they say the issue for them is that they're paying for childcare spots overall. So when their child, for example, is sick and they need to keep the child home, well, they're still paying for that spot. So they end up just sending their child into childcare sick because it's too expensive to not.
Of course. I think one of the challenges here is we still have the same costs, right? So whether we have 80 children arrive or 90 children arrive, we're still paying those staff. We're expecting those children to arrive. So we're still paying those staff the wages. We're still paying, the cost of electricity, the cost of rent, the cost of toys, resources, food, catering, Little Zach's, as an example, provides extracurricular activities, swimming lessons, cooking lessons, language lessons. So those things still cost money regardless of whether you have children sick or children arriving at the service. We still need to be open for business 5 days a week.
Yeah, of course, absolutely. And you mentioned staffing rates. Are you finding it hard to retain staff post-COVID?
Yeah, look, it's been the thing that keeps me up at night, to be honest. It has been. As I said, we not only do we pay above award wages, but we've our employee value proposition, our EVP, which it does include, as I said, things like helping them study, paying for their visas, supporting them with what they're doing, putting more staff on, allowing them to feel like they're a part of our family and our business, we've had to do a lot of those things, leadership programs to be able to retain staff. And it is hard because it's a tough sector, and our staff do an incredibly good job, and we're incredibly proud of what they do. But it is tough to retain staff. It's not just about the pay. It's about what are we doing as a sector to provide more benefits and additions to the daily rate and the hourly rate.
Look, it's very difficult out there at the moment, there's no doubt. So we know that this subsidy is coming into effect from Monday. As an operator, what more would you like to see happen? What more help do you need?
Yeah, I think I think the government are doing a great job. The new CCS regime, as I said, I think will help families. The average daily family was out of pocket $42 prior to these changes. They'll be now out of pocket around $27 on average, depending on the household income. But I would like to see sector, government and legislation working together so that we can make sure that we provide a sustainable future for our children. I think there is no other important factor than providing not just education and care, but also looking after these children and mentoring them through to the future, because they are the future generation of what we do. And I wake up every day incredibly passionate but honoured with the responsibility I have to be able to ensure that those children get that care.
And you've got about 600 staff.
Yes.
And that's a lot of staff. So how do you work that? There's a number of childcare centres that have said that there's just simply not enough staff per child ratio.
Yes.
So how do you work that?
Yeah, I think, look, as I said, it is challenging because you're competing against other providers. But like I said, I think if you can provide that staff member with a decent amount of benefits and support, and also from a leadership standpoint, drive into them the importance of what we are doing in this country. It's not just about a job and pay and what their hourly rate is. It's about the responsibility that we have. We find that if you get passionate educators who are genuinely there for the right reasons, then I think that goes a long way. But to answer your question, there is a high use of agency staff, which is needed now inside of the sector. So we are having to use agency staff, which of course does drive up cost. And that's another thing that none of these figures take into consideration, with an agency being, 10 to 20%, sometimes 30% higher than a normal hourly rate. Of course, we have ratios which are imposed by the Department of Education, which we have to adhere to as well. So there's all of these factors that give colour to this report that maybe if you weren't inside the sector, you wouldn't be aware of. Just
before we let you go, what are your thoughts on universal childcare? Is that an option for the future?
I would love to see that. I don't have a view on it. I don't have an opinion on it. I think that every young Australian should have access to childcare. What I know now is that 70% of children between the age of 0 to 5 do actually come to childcare on a regular basis. So I don't look at it, as just it's looking after your children so parents can work. It's so much more than that. So yeah, the more accessible childcare can become to families, especially struggling families, I would absolutely welcome that.
Well, it's an important discussion to have. As you said, children are the future, so we welcome any discussion on that. Richard Bell, lovely to speak with you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for your time and thank you for having me on.
Thank you.